G'day, it's Clint Paddison here, and as we reflect upon another year gone, we think to ourselves, did we reach our target? I think we have a human nature to get to the end of a time period, like a birthday or end of year, or even the end of a week, and look back and say, well, how did we compare to our goals, and did we achieve what we really wanted to achieve? Well, with the case of something like rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis, any of these inflammatory arthritic conditions, we often look back and we think, wow, have I actually got anywhere at all? It's very difficult and very challenging to overcome a condition like that. However, I want to remind you at this year end that overcoming rheumatoid arthritis and getting to a point of complete confidence and control over the condition so that you are the rheumatoid arthritis puppeteer and that you are controlling your own strings, and that whilst you still have to have a degree of discipline in your life, you are the master of your own destiny. It is possible. And my wife and I now enjoy a lifestyle where we're able to enjoy a huge range of foods, a diversity that is at least as great as what I used to enjoy in my unconscious ways before I developed rheumatoid arthritis, but now in a way that we choose from foods that are nurturing for our family and prevent me from developing a full-blown serious condition again that I previously experienced. And so my typical day includes everything from brown rice to beans and lentils and even things like bread and veggie burgers and corn and avocados and olives and things that previously would cause me so much pain. But these days I can enjoy that very wide variety of plant-based foods, from which that list is just a very small sample, and be able to eat lots of variety, Mexican, Indian, Italian foods, pastas, you name it. And it is a great way to enjoy our lifestyle, whilst keeping up regular exercise and occasional supplements and keeping stress levels low without medications. So that's what I wanted to inspire you with as we move into now the next slide, which is, what about the next year for you? What's your rheumatoid arthritis reversal plan for the year ahead? And is it going to be laid out very clearly? Or is it just going to be wishy-washy with a sort of a hope and heal kind of approach? Well, for me, I always approached this very systematically. I always treated my healing like a project, not like a problem. And by doing so, I was able to disentangle the emotional component as best as I could. Of course, it's such an emotional condition, and the frustration and anger that builds up inside you is quite dramatic. And we need a strategy to work with that, as I've covered in podcasts throughout the year and in other online materials. But in this slide, I'm going to try and put together the most simplest, most highly effective summary of what needs to be done in the year ahead, so that you can see that we don't need to overcomplicate this. And at the risk of making it seem too simple, I do believe that with the following bullet points I'll lay out, we can really get clarity on what we need to do in the new year as we roll forward and into it to get the very best outcome we can for whatever inflammatory arthritis condition that our doctor has diagnosed us with that has pretty much the same underlying cause. Let's have a look at this plan. Okay, the simplest possible cheat sheet for success. First of all, in the new year, you're going to want to maintain low pain. This is an absolute non-negotiable. When we have high pain, we have high inflammation in the body. And it doesn't matter whether that inflammation's in the joints, the elbows, knees, wrists, fingers, whether it's in the spine, jaw, chest. If we've got inflammation in the body, it is systemic. And that inflammation translates to inflammation in the gut. And inflammation in the gut causes more leakiness. And that results in more food particles food proteins and the proteins from the lining of the bacteria entering our bloodstream and aggravating our immune system, causing more inflammation in the predisposed area of your unique circumstances. So we must maintain low pain levels. Now, if possible, some people try to do this without medications. Others, and the majority, do it with medications. But it needs to be done. We need to have low pain. It's a non-negotiable. And the other non-negotiable is to not worsen. We should never allow month to month our blood tests to reveal that we have higher inflammation, higher CRP and SED rate, and we should not observe the gradual degradation of our joints. So these are non-negotiables. And the second non-negotiable there, which is the steady degradation, is an outcome of having consistent high pain levels. So we must maintain low pain. Next, we must be off any of the nasty gut drugs. So we can't be regularly taking non-steroidals, prednisone, proton pump inhibitors, and antibiotics. This set of drugs works so negatively against what we're trying to achieve with our gut healing that it is like trying to fight a boxing match with both hands tied behind your back. It is just too challenging, even under normal circumstances, to get fast results with rheumatoid reversal, let alone trying to do it with this sequence of drugs. Now, I can never give medical advice. It's not my profession, and it's just not my place. And so I would say that if you are taking one or more of these particular medications, you have a couple of options. And all of these are good. Speak to your doctor about alternatives, even considering something like a disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drug like a methotrexate or sulfasalazine. I believe personally that they are a better long-term strategy than trying to maintain daily pain suppression via other methods, especially the non-steroidals and the prednisone. And so that is something that's worth considering as we go into the new year. Are you on the wrong or insufficient medication combination? If you're trying to maintain your pain levels and suppress pain levels with this combination of drugs, then I don't consider that a good strategy. And you may be better off long term on something that doesn't have the immediate negative consequence of these set of drugs, so that you can achieve bullet point 1, which is maintaining low pain, whilst then on bullet point number 2, whilst not being on any of those nasty gut drugs. Now, if you are feeling like taking massive action with this and thinking, well, I'll never take another non-steroidal again, or I want to get off prednisone immediately, I'm just going to taper it rapidly or get off altogether, that's a risky thing to do, and it's not advised either. If I was in that position, I personally would look at substitutions. So you're going to want to look at natural substitutions that work highly effectively. And I used to always look straight towards exercise, because you spend 1.5 hours in a Bikram yoga class and you can almost guarantee that you won't be needing the painkiller meds that day. And if you can do that for day on day upon day upon day, then your year ahead is going to look a lot better than your year behind, where you're putting a lot of your pain reduction strategies into the camp of these unhelpful medications. Number 3, we must keep close to the simplest Paddison program foods. The simplest end of the spectrum of the foods in the Paddison program are the most healing. When we commence the program and move into the baseline foods, you have foods that are all 100% alkalizing. So there's no acidifying foods in there. They're all alkalizing. They're all very easy to digest. And as we saw in one of the podcasts, these foods, when eaten in their quantity and in the range that is recommended in the baseline part of the program, can be completely nutritionally complete. And so when we have a diet that's alkalizing, nutritionally complete, meeting all of our minerals, essential fatty acids, and our vitamins, and is providing a healing platform for our body, then that is an exciting place to spend a lot of time. And so, whilst it's also exciting to move on to advanced foods and move into more of a diverse range of foods, the simplest set of foods in the baseline portion of the program is where more of the healing occurs. If you can increase numbers of foods outside of that baseline period or phase and keep pain levels very low and not increase pain as a consequence of the additional foods, then that's wonderful. But if that is a struggle, then my personal strategy was to stay closer to the baseline portion of the foods for as long as I could, before then I could successfully reintroduce foods without additional pain. Next, you must ensure your diet includes probiotics. Must. What we've learnt is that some people with rheumatoid arthritis and these inflammatory arthritic conditions don't have enough of particular bacterial strains to benefit from the foods that we're eating to repopulate them. And so if you need to replenish lactobacillus, just for example, and you're eating lots of, say, oats at a later point in the program when you've graduated to being able to eat oats, but you don't have enough of the lactobacillus to help ferment the oats internally or to break down the oats internally, then not only are those oats going to be problematic for you because you're not properly breaking them down and fermenting them into their harmless amino acids, for example, but you're also not growing the populations of lactobacillus, because we have to be able to repopulate these microbial strains, and we will need a certain number of them to actually build a foundation from which they can repopulate. And so I consider a strategy of having probiotics in our diet from food or from supplements to be essential. In the Paddison program, a heavy emphasis is put onto unpasteurized miso paste. And this is a great form of probiotic food where we can buy it easily and inexpensively and get vast quantities of diverse microbes into our diet. In addition, I used a tremendous amount of supplementation from probiotics. I took a diverse range of cultures, and I also focused a lot on the lactobacillus and also the bifidobacterium range, both very common strains in the body. And I think that this is really, really important for people, especially who just can't seem to build momentum from the foods they're eating because the cultures inside them of the specific strains are just not great enough to become expansive. Next, we must keep your body moving a lot each day so your body is challenged, not just used a little bit, but challenged. What I found personally is that nothing really happened in terms of pain relief in my body until I started sweating. So I consider that exercise is a form of medicine. We must take medicine every day when it is needed for us to get well. And if we're not taking our medicine, we aren't going to improve. It's all too easy to think that the Paddison program or the path to success is a diet. The Paddison program is not a diet. Diet is one of the 5 components of pain reduction in the Paddison program. And in case you need a refresher, those 5 components are diet, exercise, stress reduction, supplementation, and medication management. Notice that we spoke about medication management above. The management of medication is important. It's avoidance of those 4 very, very disadvantageous particular drugs, and a strategy that involves maintaining low pain over long periods with potentially using medications to achieve that, so that the gut can heal. Okay? And so exercise, to resume on the bullet point I'm up to, is crucial in being one of those 5 pain reduction strategies. And it is the second most powerful natural way that we can do it, with food being the first. And so exercise should be daily, it should be sweaty, and it should be challenging. If you can achieve that, you are going to see a phenomenal improvement in your rate of healing over the coming months. Next, we must avoid consistent long-term stress. So it's one thing to have something at work that you've got to meet a deadline by Friday. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about chronic stress where there is a family issue that's going on for months upon end that's causing great distress to the family and to you personally if you're the person with the health condition. It is financial burdens that go on for many years, and it's anything under the category of long term that subconsciously is wearing away at you. Avoid this at all costs. If it means having to seek a financial advisor and get some assistance with the direction you should be taking with your money, if it means having to have a family get together and intervene and work out a solution so that this stressful set of emotional conditions is alleviated. Whatever it is for you, as you have a moment to reflect on what's causing you emotional stress, think about what would be the most boldest and effective interruption strategy or action that you could take to put an end to this. Sometimes it is outside of your control. If you're caring for a loved one who's very ill in hospital, or if you're the supporter of someone else who is in actually a worse condition than yourself, then it is very challenging, and I appreciate that. So we can only do as much as what we can. But if there are circumstances that you can influence that help both you and another party to resolve emotional stress, then let's get that out of your life. Bite the bullet, rip off the Band-Aid, whatever metaphor you need, just get it done. Let's clear up and free up that emotional stress from your life so that this coming period of time ahead of us is going to be welcomed, and there'll be space inside you for the healing that we want to put in. Finally, avoid distractions. I've noted throughout the past 12 months that in preparation for professional boxers and UFC fighters before they go into major fights, that they go into camp. They say, I'm going into camp. What does camp look like? It means that the only people they speak to outside of their preparation is their family, maybe a friend or two who's allowed into camp. But other than that, they stay off social media, they focus on their goal, and they give it 100% of their attention. Now, if that's what professionals do who are seeking the ultimate outcome for their sport, I think we can learn a lot from that when we are trying to achieve the ultimate outcome for our health. And in my view, having the perfect health, or having the best health that we can achieve, is far more important than just being good at a sport and being able to knock someone's head off or something, right? In a particular ridiculous battle for money and entertainment. We're trying to do something that's admirable and real and life-changing, not just for ourselves, but for our family and all the loved ones who are impacted by our condition, and the sort of consequences that us not being well have on the other members of our family and our friends. And so this is worth avoiding distractions from. And I want to give you a couple of micro examples where I see people fall over frequently. As simple as it might sound, your social media exposure through online groups that are intended to help when you've got something like rheumatoid arthritis and other inflammatory arthritis conditions can actually be the source of one of the biggest distractions. I've been privy to online support groups of rheumatoid arthritis, both on Facebook, free rheumatoid arthritis reversal style groups, where the general understanding of what needs to be done is poor. The general position of most people is a state of confusion, and the general position of most people's progress is one of haven't achieved it yet, to put it mildly. A lot of these members of these free online sort of support groupy style stuff is not great. And if you've ever seen a case of the blind leading the blind, then that is it. The rule of thumb is that if other people are making posts that reveal that they are confused, they're in pain, and they're lost, then get away from it. Unsubscribe from these groups. Don't participate in them. They draw you down, you get sucked in with your time, and you get confused yourself. The best place to be, if you're interested, is part of our online support group. We have people who are educated, people who are on a mission, people who know how to get well, and are inspiring or are being inspired by others who are well. So if you would like to join, we have that online support. It's called Paddison Program Support, and I'd highly encourage you to step out of the really, really low level, confusing, upsetting, and miserable free online groups where people are constantly in pain, complaining, and lost, and take part in our incredibly supportive and healing platform that we call Paddison Program Support, where you will get better. So these are the 7 ways that if you implement these things over the next 12 months, you will massively improve. And I just want to recap. We've got to maintain low pain. It's a non-negotiable, and this will result in making sure that you do not worsen, which is the second non-negotiable. We must be off these nasty non-steroidals, prednisone, proton pump inhibitors, and antibiotics. These are not part of a healing strategy from my personal viewpoint. You need to keep close to the simplest Paddison program foods for long periods of time for the most effective healing to occur. If you're in a bad way, and if you're doing well and you can advance forward quickly without any consequence or bump in pain, then that is superb and that is wonderful, and that's where you want to be. Ensure your diet includes probiotics. Get them through the foods and get them through supplements as well. As long as they're non-dairy, you're in business. You want to keep your body moving. Exercise is medicine. Keep everything going. Use the Paddison program videos that come with the materials so that you don't just do the cardiovascular exercises, but also the joint-specific exercises, especially those associated with the elbows and the knees, which require specific and very targeted exercises. Avoid the consistent long-term stress. Make an interruption. Go ahead and pull off that band-aid, make a decision, and go and improve your outlook by minimizing the stress that has a negative impact on the microbiome and ultimately your autoimmune condition, by doing the right thing and improving relationships wherever you can. And avoid distractions. Get off free Facebook groups. Just unsubscribe from them, and get off things like healthblocked.com. I Made a little bit of a mistake on the word that I used there, but if you're familiar with some of these online sites, the one I'm referring to sounds a lot like healthblocked.com, because the general feeling in these sites will bring you down, and you do not want that when you're on a mission. You are on a mission to get well. You're on a mission to go from your current state to becoming as close as possible to pain-free, drug-free, and back to maximum energy. It is possible. It can be done. It may not be possible for everyone, but everyone can improve. So, as we move into the next year, my wife, Melissa, my two little girls, Ariel and Angelina, we wish you the most amazing year ahead. May it be a year full of progress, full of motivation, and may it be a year where you finally start to feel that sense of what it's like to crush this thing and to get consistent progress. Because when we have consistent progress, we feel motivated to continue the effort, and there is no more worthy source of effort than getting rid of shocking pain that's holding you back from everything else that you want to achieve in life. If you'd like our help, we'd love to help you, and you can simply come and get my support on a daily basis, and I can answer all your questions throughout the coming year and really remove all the blocks between now and what you are really aiming to achieve. I look forward to helping you, whether it be through our online support or via our free app, our free podcast, our free YouTube videos, our free mailing list, and our free blog post throughout the next 12 months. Lots and lots of love from me, Clint, and the Paddisons.